Welcome to the Yo-11 podcast. Yo-11 podcast, mostly Vegas, no BS casino experience and more. Michael Traeger is a casino and travel loyalty expert who also helps people turn their travel dreams into reality. We'd also like to mention one of our affiliates and supporters, Your Best Credit Cards. Use the link below to subscribe to credit card bonus offer notifications and never miss a bonus offer again. When you sign up, it will track the cards you are interested in and alert you when the bonus goes up. Bonus, you also support the Yo-11 podcast when you use it. And now your host, Michael Traeger. How's it going, Michael?
It's going great. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. I understand, as we discussed in a previous episode, that we have an interesting topic possibly coming up next week about influencers.
Yes, I think we need to talk about influencers a little bit. But I recently saw a bit. But this isn't easy. None of this is ever calling out influencers because we don't do that. Because we love everybody. Because we're just full of the love, especially Movestro. Movestro loves everything. He's just full of tons of love. It's like Movestro love. But it's really hard sometimes when we see a lot of casino influencers, and it's hard to tell sometimes, how much you should believe or not believe from people. But that's okay, because I think a lot of people do. Part of what they do is genuinely share what they believe to be true. But I think the issue always becomes things like bias, and if you're making money off the videos, if you've been invited to a property, if you're doing, there can be some bias in there. So it's interesting to think, I guess the main question is, does that make a difference? It's still somebody's opinion, but maybe it's their biased opinion, but does that matter? The other thing that's sort of interesting, not even influencers in general, but people's opinions who, especially in the casino world in Las Vegas, are visiting casinos and experiencing casinos on a complimentary basis because of their play and action, which could be through the marketing department or could be a little bit more handheld through a host. So those people are going to have a different experience and a good experience. And should we be critical of that? Should we consider that experience of a hosted player at Venetian or Wynn or an MGM property like Bellagio? Should we consider that experience to be representative of the service standards and the way things are at that property? Or should we take it a little bit with a grain of salt? It's interesting stuff to think about, isn't it?
Absolutely. I always take things with a grain of salt, especially when people review food. Everyone has different tastes. So what may be great for that person might not be great for me, and vice versa. Usually it's with a grain of salt, but if especially if it's like, and like they're being paid by the casino you want to do business with them again. If this is how you make money, you're going to say good things about them to get future business from them. When it comes to stuff like that, I usually don't trust it. I just would rather, try it out myself and get my own experience from it than believing something that an influencer has to say.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. And, I can't wait till I get to Vegas next month. We're going to do another room service video, this time at Crockford's. Have people seen it? You should put a link to that.
Now someone's going to do it before we do, because we already put this out there.
But we're going to do another bougie video of stuff. I think it's really tough. One thing I try to do, and I think I'm more of a foodie than a lot of people, and I've been exposed to a lot of food, but I am not a food critic. I am not a food critic. Absolutely not a food critic. I am a person who loves food experience, but I do not consider myself at the level of a food critic. So I tend to be very, very cautious when I talk about food and I review food, which is sort of what you were just saying, Movestro. And I am very, very reluctant to slam a restaurant or slam an experience, because I really don't think I'm a food critic. I'm a food enjoyer. I'm a person who enjoys food, but I don't think I'm really qualified to be a food critic. Maybe I'm too critical, because there are probably people far less qualified than me who pretend to be food critics. But what do you think about that? Do you agree with that, Movestro? Like that's my approach. That
yeah.
I'm just a little cautious about how deep I am on something, because I'm not. I mean, I guess if you gave me, none of the places that I go to eat that you would usually have like a meal that was like absolutely horrible, like the sort of Gordon Ramsay on Hell's Kitchen where he's like, he spits it
It's
out or something
raw.
like that. It's raw.
And the way
You have no taste buds. You have the taste buds of a cow's behind.
He's so funny. Yeah, I'm just saying I enjoy food. I'm not sure I'm a foodie. I'm definitely not a food critic. But then again, there are a lot of food critics who have never cooked anything in their lives. Basically outside the exception of microwaving something for dinner. So again, I don't really pay attention to food critics because people's tastes are different. Some might
One thing
like
I will
snail,
say,
and some I wouldn't like snail. It's like, oh, this snail is delicious.
I love
No,
snails.
that's good. Of course you do. But it's just
escargot. I love to have some escargot. I love to have some escargot while I'm playing baccarat.
Yeah, where I'd be like, wow, this is the grossest thing I've ever had in my entire life. So it's just everyone's taste in food is different. That's just another thing that I take with a grain of salt.
We've been working on the food for ZorkFest too, because we have a really, really great cocktail reception, because food is a big part of it, and drink and bar, and we have premium bar. And also we're doing really cool appetizers and things like that, and lots of cool stuff. So that's also part of the ZorkFest experience. You see, I bring that stuff up a lot now, but it is true. There's definitely food experience. But yeah, food's a tough one. I think you have to be careful. I mean, one thing I have been noticing trend wise, certain things are getting overdone, like the caviar thing. I love caviar. I'm like a caviar OG person, but caviar is cropping up too much. Like in the 4-6's place, like the Caviar Tower. Like, why do they have a Caviar Tower in that Texas steakhouse? Like, why is there
I
caviar?
have no idea. That didn't make sense. I didn't know that caviar was such a big deal in Texas. Maybe they have the
but
biggest caviar.
You know what?
Everything is bigger in Texas. Maybe their caviar is huge. Who knows?
You know what? Sean from Twitter. I have to get his handle correct, but he comments on a lot of things, and it's at ATX Vegas fan. That's at ATX Vegas fan. He comments a lot, lots of amazing commentary, and he reminded me that oysters and red snapper, are sort of a Gulf Texas thing. So the oysters and the snapper are really, really good, as far as Texas, but the caviar, no. I mean, but there are things called like cowboy caviar, which isn't really caviar. And then we have to get into the whole like what's proper caviar and sturgeon caviar versus non-sturgeon caviar. There's a lot to talk about. But anyway, I think caviar has become sort of a thing lately, and I guess that makes me happy. I mean, something that I love has become quite mainstream, or more mainstream, but there's a lot of caviar going on. There was actually a restaurant in New York I was looking at recently that their focus was fried chicken and chicken and caviar and champagne. That sounds like a restaurant I would open.
Fried chicken, caviar, and champagne.
Yeah.
Powered by Travel Zork.
Powered by, yes, exactly. So that's and if anyone knows the name of that restaurant, let me know. And if you want to know, ask in the comments below, and I will drop you a link. Really, really cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool food stuff still going on in Manhattan. Anyway, let's carry on with the teas. Okay. Well, today, part of it is this casino marketing being more creative. And you will see that RIO sent me an offer. They obviously have the database from Caesars Rewards, which they have, and they sent me an offer for 5 complimentary nights in a renovated Ipanema suite in the month of August. I have not been to RIO in 1.5 years. But I thought that was sort of interesting that I got that offer. But one of the things, and I was looking at all those terms and conditions on the back, and you know how I love to dive into those terms and conditions. One of the things that is a little bit irky about this, and I don't know why the properties aren't more creative, and Movestro can flip over the terms and conditions, I think, on that offer. I think we have a slide for that. Yes, which of course you can't read, but that's fine. But I will read it to you. But there is a nightly resort fee, surprise, surprise, preview, of $40 per room plus applicable taxes is required for the duration of your stay. The nightly resort fee includes complimentary stuff that you don't care about now: internet for 4 devices, fitness center, blah 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 blah, and of course unlimited local and toll-free calls. But that isn't the point of this. What's interesting is they go on to say is the resort fee policy for packages and promotions may vary. Oh. A complimentary resort fee is available for qualified RIO rewards members. Now, it is true that they have tier-based. At certain tier-based levels, you do not get a resort fee, but they also can give you offers without resort fees. I think it is so silly to fish for offers and to send somebody an offer for with a resort fee when you're trying to get them to come to your property. Actually, I've often thought that all comp rooms should have no resort fee, no matter what your status is. I know places like Wynn do that, but even setting that aside, why can't they be more creative? Why can't they say, you could get your resort fee waived, come in, get your 5 complimentary nights. By the way, we have a resort fee, but if you play at least this many tier credits, something reasonable, we will waive your resort fee. Wow. Isn't that a cool idea? That would mean that you would come in and you would have a goal that you would need to play a certain amount to get the resort fee waived. And I often think that one of my pet peeves or gripes is that casino marketing is not gamified enough and not creative enough. And I know that Wynn is starting to be more creative with things where if you play a certain amount, you get some bonus free play. And MGM Rewards has been starting to do those things. And everyone needs to do more of that. They need to encourage you to use your casino offers, and they need to encourage you to hit goals. And if you hit those goals, you get cool shit. That could be free resort fees, it could be some extra promotions, it could be experiences, but it's just something to do and something to let you, like, why don't properties say if you play a certain amount, these are some additional awards you can get on your upcoming stay. Like, if you play this much and you come in on this offer, you will then get a car back to the airport. Things like that. They just need to be more creative, or an extra comp for breakfast. That could be really cool too. You could tie it in so great. There's so much great stuff you could do, but instead it's just come in and get your 5 complimentary nights and please play. Now, it is true, to be fair, that you can deal with hosts on the back end. And if you do play very, very strong, you can get things taken off on the back end. But wouldn't it be nice to come in on an offer and know if you do certain things, maybe those things are play a certain number of tier credits, earn a certain number of comp dollars, or maybe even spending at the resort, maybe you get some additional perks, and give someone, tease those perks, give people an incentive when they come in. But especially if you're trying to get people to come to your property that you've just renovated, at least comp them the resort fee the first time they come, because it just seems like the right thing to do. That's it. I'm off my soapbox. What do you think, Movestro?
I think it's the right thing to do and the tasty way to do it. As Wilford Brimley used to say about, I forget what, 4C iced tea or something. I have no idea. But Lipton iced tea. It's the right thing to do. Tasty way to do it. Diabetes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't you feel though sometimes like things are not gamified enough, and like all the small print? What do you need the small print for? You're trying to get someone to come in and gamble. Like, essentially you're trying to get someone to come in and lose money, right? That's like really the goal, is like you're trying to get someone to come in and play, and the house has an edge. You're trying to get them to do something. So why put all these crazy terms and conditions and additional things? Make it really, really simple.
Yeah, I don't. It's. I agree with you on if it's their first time, make it great. Make it great so that they want to come back. Waive the resort fee the
Oh,
first
I
time.
forgot to do my Rio. What do I always think of when I say Rio?
Oh
I
boy,
think of
copyright strike.
my name is Rio. Rio, Duran Duran, Rio. Oh, such a great song. Movestro can sing it better than me. I won't sing. I can't sing. I have no voice. But Rio from Duran Duran. Look it up. That's what I always think of when people say
And
Rio.
we got a
Excellent song.
copyright strike.
Oh, Movestro and the copyright strikes. I know, but it's all for educational purposes.
The thing is, this the terms and conditions on this thing. It really just sort of it reads off like one of those like lawyerish disclaimers at the end of a commercial about a product that's supposed to be for your health but may cause sudden death and diarrhea. It just reads off must be 21 years or older with valid ID. Terms and conditions apply. Offer is based on exceeded qualifications. May not be combined with any other offer or slot play. Offsetting wagers are
You know
not
what's
permitted.
another interesting one here is offsetting wagers are not permitted. You know what they mean by that? So they mean like you can't like, which is sort of weird here because it's like they've given you complimentary room nights. They haven't told you, like I haven't been there in a million years. They haven't told me I have to do any play or tell me that there's anything that's necessary to do here. But they're telling you like offsetting wagers are not permitted. So there is no playing black and red at roulette, which actually the casino shouldn't care about because even if you play black and red at roulette, there's a 0, a 00, and a 000, and the casino's still gonna make money.
Yep.
I mean, but it is the other stuff like no cash value, not for resale, non-transferable. Okay, that's fair, right? That's fair stuff to say, but it's just it is sort of interesting, and other things like a room deposit, charge at time of reservation. That's fine. What I think is always so funny is they go so granular about certain things. So they're telling you resort fee is $40 per room plus applicable taxes, but they don't tell you what the room deposit is. Now, most hotels do a credit card hold for incidentals from 50 to 150 a night. Well, guys, if you're actually telling us what the resort fee is going to be, why don't you tell us the room deposit is $100 a night too? Like, why are you being so exact about the resort fee but not telling us the room deposit? Come on, I love those details. Like tell people what they expect. And when you go on Facebook groups all the time, you always hear that like so many times from people like, how much does a hotel hold? What's the holding charge? What's the holding charge of the hotel? Like just put that stuff there, guys. Make life easy. One good thing is though, you can enjoy free valet and self parking. So that's cool. Rio has free parking, huh? I guess so. They always did though, didn't they?
I do not recall. I've only been to Rio one time in my entire Vegas existence, and it was to see Penn and Teller back in 2009, maybe 2010. Haven't stepped foot in the place since then. So
I was there. I played there on 8/8/2008. You know I love my numbers.
love your eights.
I also played Big Baccarat. I also played Big Baccarat there, and that was really, really cool because they had these interesting shears and everything around the Big Baccarat table. So that actually is one of the places I played Big Baccarat. But good stuff. Anyway, I'd love to hear what your opinion is. Nothing horrible here. Like, thank you, Rio, for sending me a room offer. I'm just trying to say how we can make it more interesting and more fun. And that's all I got for you on that subject.
We're gonna make free offers great again. That's my worst impression ever. Wow, I'm off. Uh, what's going on with the ZorkFest dinner and stuff like that? I know that it's a big deal and it's almost sold out. So, what do you want to say about that?
Oh, well, there is going to be a presentation that's going to integrate Jack Daniels, and we're going to have an expert from Jack Daniels who's going to be doing a presentation. We're not exactly sure what that experience part of dinner is going to be, but it's going to revolve around Jack Daniels. And Jack Daniels has a very dear place in Sinatra. So remember, we're at Sinatra. We're going to be talking about Sinatra. We're going to do a presentation about Jack Daniels. Someone who is an expert from Jack Daniels is going to do that. This is really cool. I will be sharing the details about that expert, super duper cool person. And that's going to be part of the dinner experience. And then we also have Chef Theo, who actually did cook for Frank Sinatra. And we have this amazing menu we're putting together. So it's really going to be an interesting, foodie dinner experience. Since it is only open to 20 people, it's very, very small. It's an add-on. It's expensive. That's why we did it that way. Also, a lot of people wanted to have their Friday night free to dine wherever they wanted to dine. We are going to allow people, like, we will have a prefix menu. You are going to have menu choices that you're going to get about a month before. We're going to ask you what you would like. So there's multiple courses. And of course, for picky eaters, we can modify things, mostly because we have the ability to do that with a small dinner like this. I mean, modify things because of food allergies or you don't eat things, but we are going to have a couple of choices. So that's going to be cool. And then the goal is that Josh Duffy, Josh of Vegas Duffy of Crap Vegas, is going to lead us all over to the dice tables at Encore Las Vegas after dinner, which will be relatively late on that Friday night, and we're going to play a little dice. I'm going to play very little dice. It's going to be a hit and run session. Boom, boom, boom. Josh is going to roll an ATS, and that's it. Going to collect my money, and then I'm going to go back and get ready for ZorkFest to start again on Saturday morning, because remember, Friday is just the cocktail reception and the optional dinner. And that's it. That's a little bit more. So more details to come, but at least it teases it a little bit, but it's cool. But there is this Jack Daniels element, which is going to be super cool.
All right. Sounds cool. Before we get going, is there anything on your mind? Anything you want to share?
No, I think I've shared about everything. So we're pretty cool. So next week, I think we'll go into the influencer stuff. Maybe we won't. I want to talk about travel, some travel things and travel takeaways and travel disruptions. I think I need to get into some of that. So that'll be it. And then I have a bunch of other things on my list. I keep a list of things I want to talk about on Yo-11. So there will be a lot coming up. Also, those balconies at Paris. I want to talk about those balconies at Paris, Las Vegas, in the Versailles Tower. I was staying in the Versailles Tower, eating escargot and playing baccarat. And that's it. That's all I got for you today.
Alrighty, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Luxury travel booking, Travel Zork Travel. Visit us at travelzork.travel to plan your next amazing vacation. And please join the conversation on social media. You can find us easily. All social platforms are at Travel Zork. We'll see you next time.